everyone. Lisa Haven here, and I have to be very frank with you. I am having a very hard time delivering the message that I have to deliver to you today. I've restarted this video quite a few times, but the truth of the matter is I am literally sick to my stomach. I am sick at the direction that our country is headed. I mean, think about this for a moment. We had a pandemic, right? The Spanish flu years and years ago. It killed 60 million people. But that pandemic did not implement massive freedom-stealing policies like taking our freedom of speech away, taking our rights to speak online, taking people's rights over their own body, locking people in their houses. Those kinds of things didn't happen on a massive scale like they are happening today with the COVID-19. And the Spanish flu was a far worse virus. Yet today, every ounce of our freedom is being given up by people, and millions are clapping along saying, take it away. I mean, I am just heartbroken that our Constitution and Bill of Rights is being treated like toilet paper. Even under the Spanish pandemic, the Spanish flu, it was never treated like that. Our Constitution was still revered, but not today. Not today. Right now, there's a piece of legislation now going into office on top of people being restricted from going to restaurants and whatnot. Now there is legislation going through Congress. It's just been introduced. It's not passed. But this legislation is attempting to make it illegal to get on a plane if you're not vaccinated. Here's what I'm talking about. Take a look at the actual bill. It's on congress.gov, HR 4980, to direct the Secretary of Homeland Security to ensure that any individual who is traveling on a flight that departs from or arrives to an airport inside of the U.S. or a territory of the U.S. is fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and for other purposes. Now, I also want you to note the date on this, August 6th, 2021. And this was introduced, of course, by a Democrat in New York. You could see Richie Torres right there. But the thing about this bill is it has no summary, no information on the bill, no actions, no text, no anything like that. So they haven't expanded. So I don't know if they're going to allow medical exemptions. I don't know if they're going to allow religious exemptions. I don't know if they're going to allow tests to be taken or not be taken as an alternative. But what I do know, as it reads right now, it's been introduced, and if this were to pass, and it has not passed, it just got introduced, then this would limit tens of millions of people from flying on an airplane. And here's what's interesting as well is a former Obama official actually called for something similar to this on August 4th, 2 days before the bill was introduced. And here it is. FoxNews.com, former Obama officials call for unvaccinated to be put on a no-fly list. Here's the problem that I have with it. If this was any other group of people at all, then this would be considered hate speech or a hate crime, right? But because it's the unvaccinated group, somehow they're now treated as less than human. I mean, really, this is why I tell you my heart is breaking. I don't believe anyone should be treated as less than human. No one should be, right? And here's the kind of stuff that is going on right now. Breitbart.com, CNN, Don Lemon says that unvaccinated people should not be allowed in supermarkets and in ball games and at work. So what you're saying here is because of their vaccination status, and who knows if that includes religious exemptions and medical exemptions, he doesn't really specify. Now you're being told by Don Lemon that you shouldn't be allowed to go eat food in a supermarket or go to work, taking all your livelihood away from you. Sounds kind of similar to what happened a long time ago in history's past, right? With slaves and the whole 9 yards. It's like we're back there again. Here's another one here, CNNhealth.com. If you are not vaccinated against COVID, you shouldn't go into a bar or restaurant, says experts. And they're actually putting rules and legislation right now in Los Angeles, in Palm Springs, and New York City there. You can't get into a restaurant or bar, and events or go to work in some places in a lot of businesses now unless you're vaccinated, right? Then we have this MSNBC's Newsweek.com. Former Biden advisor suggests making unvaccinated people pay for their own COVID test. And here's the issue I have with that, right? If people aren't paying, if people get into an accident and they cause the accident via a car, or maybe they cut their own finger, or maybe they fell down the stairs, or maybe whatever, fill in the blank. Are they paying their own medical bills? No, they're not. So it doesn't make sense to force it upon an unvaccinated group unless you're not paying for any accidents that you commit either, but that's completely kicked off the curb because it's an unvaccinated group. Forbes.com, coming soon for the unvaccinated, a $50 monthly paycheck deduction from your employer. Then we have this, the coronavirus, NewYorkTimes.com. As a doctor, can I refuse service to my unvaccinated patients? And these are literally the things that are happening to one group of people. And look, that's not the only thing that's happening to these people. Right now, we're actually being told by Fauci and the media that the unvaccinated people are the reason that we have all these variants popping up, right? Take a look at these articles here. This is CBSNews.com. Fauci says unvaccinated Americans are propagating this outbreak as Delta spreads. We have WashingtonPost.com. The CDC needs to make it very clear. The problem is the unvaccinated people. Newsweek.com. Alabama governor says it's time to blame the unvaccinated folks for the rise in COVID. CNNHealth.com. Unvaccinated people are variant factories infecting disease, experts say. Once you start blaming people, once you start putting a name to something, right? Like they did with the Jews, right? They caused all the economic issues, as Hitler says, right? What happens? Well, it becomes permissible to mistreat those kinds of people or abuse them. And that's why we have all this stuff. They should be kept from flying. They should not be allowed in restaurants. It's becoming permissible to mistreat these people. Maybe they have religious convictions. Maybe they have medical issues, or fill in the blank. I don't know, right? But what I do know is they're not subhuman. And this is above and beyond. And when I say my heart is breaking, I'm going to show you this last article because I think it really sheds light on what I'm trying to say here. And here it is, theguardian.com. It's only a matter of time before we turn on the unvaccinated. And it actually talks about that ideal and principle. That's just downright terrifying. I'm for equality of everyone, no matter your religious belief or wherever. It's just a crazy world in which we live in. And I really question, we didn't have these kind of mandates with the Spanish flu that killed 50, 60 some odd million people. And we don't have these mandates on everything else. Anyhow, I'd love to get your thoughts, comments, and concerns. And please don't forget to check out my partner. And if you guys haven't checked them out, I really want to encourage you to do so at hidewithlisa.com. If you don't have a VPN, now is the time to get one. And it really hides all that information that you look at on the internet. So check it out at hidewithlisa.com and protect your internet today. And they're the reason that I'm thankfully still here online. Anyhow, I love all of you. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.